There is not enough rum tequila in the world for this ish. Hey guys, this is Jules with True Crime Reactions. It's late. It's almost midnight. It is still 11/22/25. I got back into town later than I wanted to, so we didn't get to go live tonight. But as I was taking a bath, I was getting caught up on everything that was going on with Celeste. This is crazy. Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. And I don't know if it's true. I don't trust TMZ. And I also know that the police will use morons like the guys on TMZ and Mark Garagos, because now he's put his stupid self in the middle of all of this. They'll use their stupidity, you know? So I don't know if this is true, because for everything that's been coming out, Steve Fisher, the PI that was hired by the man who owns the rental home that David was staying in, that was under his manager's name, that was next to where the Tesla was parked, okay, all of that. Steve is posting like Trump memes like this one and saying that watching a rag tabloid basically get trolled is like entertaining. But this also comes after he posted on November 20th, because of the volume of calls and emails I've received following TMZ's reporting from an unnamed source, I need to state that for legal reasons, I cannot provide any further public comment on the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case at this time. This is not permanent, but for now, this is the situation. My client's goal and my goal remain justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Then the one before that says, TMZ's constant flip-flopping is unbelievable. It's wild that so many people just go along with it and don't call them out. Well, Steve knows that I call them out and been calling people out like this the entire 3 years he's known all about me. So he knows that there's a few of us, me, Rabbit, several others call out TMZ every single time we have to, for every single time they've ever commented on anything, because it's always the most flip-flopped, wishy-washy boo-boo. They come out here and they report on every little bitty thing that they hear like it's a fact, as if it's for real, because their source said so. Oh my gosh, they're very legitimate source, deep inside the investigation. And 9 times out of 10, it's all shit. And they end up having to come back and change their mind. It literally just happened. We just talked about this. They came out stating that their sources told them they were nowhere near an arrest. An arrest is nowhere near imminent. There was no way to prove that it was actually even a homicide and all this other boo-boo. The next day, bro. The next day they come out saying David is a suspect. This is a homicide. Then the next day they come out and say, oh, there's a trip in the springtime of 2025 that everyone's looking at now. Because David went out into like the deep depths of the darkness in Santa Barbara for a couple of hours in like the middle of the night. And everyone's really curious about that trip. Now, again, Celeste was found at the beginning of September. The day after her birthday. Yeah. So I don't know why it would have taken Tesla this long to get their information back if this is going off of Tesla location information. But I don't know if that means that they got that information from the black Tesla. I don't know if it's the black one or the red one. I don't know if they've said, but we have to keep in mind there are 2 here. And for the black one, the registration went out in January. I think there was like 2 parking tickets after that. I want to say February, but do not quote me on that one. But for sure, the registration ran out in January. And at the beginning of February, he goes and leases the red Tesla. And the black one gets parked in all these different places. Now, the shit that's coming out today has me, like, my mind is blown. I've been sitting here for like 30 minutes trying to figure out, like, how the frick are they going to try to tell us that this is possible? And I'm really sort of wondering if someone's trying to frame David, okay? And this is just a fleeting thought. I don't know. We know their relationship, at least them knowing each other, is real. We know that he has written a lot of very deep songs with a lot of very deep meaning that unless you've loved somebody like that, you're not going to comprehend it. And a lot of people know what the hell he's talking about in these songs. Okay, for them to actually come out, TMZ, I'm not going to say they, for TMZ, and TMZ only, to come out and say that she actually was dismembered, that her limbs actually were taken off of her body, that she was cut up strategically, I think was even said at some point. It could have been something that somebody else added into this. Now this has gone completely freaking haywire, this information, ever since it came out. But for them to claim that she was still defrosting by the time she got to the coroner's office, by the time she got seen by the medical examiner, by the time she got out of the Tesla, her body parts were still thawing out. I'm sorry. That vehicle got parked there by someone who is in David's little entourage either the day that they left on the tour or the day before they left on the tour. That's the one that Steve Fisher, the PI, again hired by the homeowner of the Hollywood Hills house, came out and told us that they have that guy on video. And they've been able to match what he's wearing to things that were on social media, like the exact same day, to prove that it was him. So what about the tow truck cameras? Like the tow yard cameras? Was someone just waiting for that car to get towed and then dumped her body in that vehicle trying to set David up? Because there's no freaking way that that damn car got put there at like the end of July, early August, end of July, and it gets picked up a month later and her body is still defrosting. I'm sorry, no. But that also doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, because for her body to have still been pretty like frozen and in still thawing mode, how could it have smelt the way that it smelt in order to get people's attention? That's why when Steve is posting stuff like, nope, wrong, and watching this tabloid get basically trolled is hilarious, or whatever he posted on there, I'm really wondering if that's really the case. Because that doesn't add up to me. They're really trying to be like, oh, he went out to Santa Barbara with some other person, because now there's a second suspect. But we've already sort of known that, because we've already known that there was somebody else that was apparently driving the Tesla when they put the Tesla in that little spot before they took off on the tour. So that was not new news. And that came from Idiot with TMZ and Mark Garagos with no official sources. They won't name who is telling them this information. And there's been no official information. The only thing that's happened is her case, when it comes to like her cause of death and stuff like that, whenever you could actually go on the portal and see the stuff, it's no longer viewable. It's been moved. They're saying that it's under some sort of security hold. That tells me there's probably a case. But this is crazy. For them to come out and be like, oh, she was frozen. I'm sorry. There is no trip to Santa Barbara and back in the middle of the springtime. And she gets found beginning of September and her body parts are just now starting to thaw out. No, there's no freaking way. Somebody's lying or somebody's lying. I don't even know what to think right now. There's just no way. That story does not logically make sense. If someone can make it logically make sense, feel free to post it down in the comments. But at this moment in time, it sounds more like someone got wind of David's car being put in that tow yard and was somehow able to pop the trunk and put her in there. And sometime probably the night before, or yeah, like the night before her body was discovered is probably when it was put in there. That sounds more logical than the bullshit they're trying to come out and tell us, or at least what TMZ is telling us. What a wild freaking Friday night. What? Okay, let me know what you guys are thinking about this down in the comments. If you like the way that I present this information and give my opinion, please don't forget to leave a like on the way out, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already, and please don't forget to make sure that that notification bell is set to all so you don't miss any of my rants, reviews, reactions, updates, or deep dives. See y'all.